Welcome to the FIFA World Cup.
For years, the polite version of the story was that Ecuador were lucky to be there at all.
It's a great pass, and they have got a fourth! Caicedo this time!
Oh, how about that on the volley for 1-1, Moises Caicedo?
That version is dead.
With the cross, which was perfect. Kendry Paez, the teenager, timing his run to perfection and nodding the visitors into the lead.
Rio looks to slide that through to Piero Hincapié, who's in on goal here, and Hincapié scores his first Premier League goal.
This isn't a hopeful little South American side hoping to nick a result anymore. This is a team that just walked through the hardest qualifying gauntlet in world football and came out second, sitting above Brazil, above Colombia, behind only Argentina. And they did it with a backline so good that European giants would empty their wallets to own it. 5 goals conceded across 18 qualifiers, 13 clean sheets. Hold on to that number, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why it terrifies everybody. The World Cup has a serious Ecuador problem, and the rest of the planet hasn't woken up to it yet. The defensive record. So let me give you that context, because the headline stat almost sounds made up. In the entire history of the modern CONMEBOL round-robin format, the brutal home and away marathon that's been running since the late 90s, no team had ever conceded fewer goals than this Ecuador side. Just did. Not Brazil at their peak, not Argentina. 5 goals in 18 games. And before anybody jumps in the comments to say the schedule was soft, save it. This is the group where everybody beats everybody, where a trip to altitude in La Paz or a night in Buenos Aires can wreck a campaign. Ecuador went on an 11-match unbeaten run through the back half of it and conceded a single goal across that entire stretch. 1. They kept 9 clean sheets in their last 12 official games. This wasn't a hot streak, it was a wall going up, brick by brick, and nobody on the continent found a way through it. Caicedo, the engine. But a wall needs an engine in front of it, and Ecuador's engine is one of the best midfielders alive, Moises Caicedo. The Chelsea man, 24 years old, and right now there's a serious argument that he's the finest defensive midfielder in the Premier League, full stop. Gary Neville said it out loud this season. The best midfielder in the league. Caicedo leads that league in interceptions, sits at the top in recoveries, and duels won. And he does it every single week with a consistency that's almost boring. He destroys, he carries, he protects the back four. And then watch what happens here. He steps up from 25 yards and rips one into the top corner against Liverpool.
It's a great pass, and they have got a fourth! Caicedo this time!
Oh, how about that on the volley for 1-1, Moises Caicedo?
He stopped being just a destroyer. Now he scores, he progresses the ball, he wears the captain's armband at one of the biggest clubs in England. And in 2025, he lifted the Club World Cup with Chelsea, beating the European champions in the final. For Ecuador, he is the heartbeat, the man every transition runs through. That kind of player almost doesn't exist for a nation this size. Ecuador have him anyway. Pacho, the world beater. So who anchors that historic defense? Start with William Pacho, and pay attention to this, because it's genuinely absurd. Pacho is the rock at the center of Paris Saint-Germain, arguably the best club team on the planet over the last 2 seasons. And in May 2025, he became the first Ecuadorian in history to win the Champions League, starting in the final as PSG demolished Inter Milan 5-0 in Munich. The only Ecuadorian who'd ever even reached that final before him was Antonio Valencia, who lost it. Pacho didn't just reach it, he owned it. He arrived from Eintracht Frankfurt as a relative unknown and turned himself into Luis Enrique's most trusted defender, the guy who makes superstars look ordinary. When Pacho is on the pitch, PSG in knockout football have been close to unbeatable. He doesn't simply defend, he switches the opposition's best players off. That's what makes him terrifying, and he's only getting started. Hincapié, the partner. And here's the scary part. Pacho isn't even alone back there. Next to him stands Piero Hincapié, and Piero might be one of the most important footballers Ecuador has ever produced. He spent 4 trophy-laden seasons at Bayer Leverkusen, where he was a cornerstone of Xabi Alonso's invincible side, the team that won the Bundesliga without losing a single game, the only unbeaten league title in the club's history, plus the German Cup to seal a double. Over 160 appearances, a center back who can slide to left back without blinking. That versatility earned him a deadline day move to Arsenal in 2025. With the Gunners chasing the Premier League and the Champions League, and he's slotted straight into one of the best defenses in England. Put Pacho and Hincapié side by side for Ecuador, and you've got a Champions League winning center back next to a Bundesliga invincible. That's not a national team partnership. That's a continental final partnership wearing yellow. The rest of the wall. And it goes deeper than two names. On the left, you've got Pervis Estupiñán, a Europa League winner with Villarreal, a fullback with a cannon of a left foot and an engine that never quits. The kind of overlapping threat that turns a solid defense into a dangerous one. Behind them in the pipeline is Joel Ordóñez, a two-time Belgian champion with Club Brugge, already battle-tested in the Champions League and calm beyond his years, with Europe's bigger clubs already circling. So when you ask who actually stops the world's best attackers, Ecuador don't give you one answer. They give you a list. A backline that conceded half as many goals as reigning world champions Argentina across qualifying. It's not just a good defense. It's the meanest defense the continent has produced in the modern era, and it's stacked with depth most contenders would envy. The proof. Colombia and Argentina. And before you tell me numbers lie, look at what they did to the Giants. Away to Colombia, Ecuador went down to 10 men early, and instead of folding, they reorganized into a low block so compact that Colombia simply couldn't break it and stole the game 1-0. Then came the message that echoed around the world. Ecuador 1, Argentina 0. They shut down the reigning world champions, smothered the midfield, allowed Messi's side almost nothing, and won. This is a team that finished an entire qualifying cycle, conceding only a handful of goals across 12 official matches under Sebastián Beccacece, who turned them into a side that conceded just twice in his 12 qualifiers in charge. These results aren't luck anymore. They're a system. Every layer feeds the one beneath it. The engine protects the wall frees the fullbacks, the whole thing moves like one organism. That's why the Giants left those games with nothing. The attack and the future. Now, the one fair criticism, the goals. Ecuador can be stubborn in front of net, and they know it. Too many of those qualifiers ended 0-0. But don't mistake quiet for empty, because the pieces to fix it are right there. Up top is the eternal captain, Ener Valencia, Ecuador's all-time leading scorer, the man who stood on more big World Cup stages than any Ecuadorian before him. And 2026 will be his final dance. Gonzalo Plata gives them a winger who grew up, won a Copa Libertadores with Flamengo, and learned to deliver in finals. And then there's the jewel, Kendry Páez, a Chelsea-bound teenager currently sharpening his game on loan at River Plate, named by FIFA among the young stars to watch at his first World Cup. If this side ever marries that historic defense to even a league average attack, the rest of the field has a genuine problem on its hands. The dark horse close. So, let me ask you something. What did Ghana in 2010, Costa Rica in 2014, Croatia in 2018, and Morocco in 2022 all have in common? They were the teams nobody believed in until they walked into the tournament and shocked the planet. Every World Cup needs a dark horse, the side that turns the bracket upside down and ruins everybody's predictions. And right now, with the best defensive record in South American qualifying history, with a Champions League winner and a Bundesliga invincible at the back, with one of the world's best midfielders pulling the strings, and a captain chasing one last fairy tale Ecuador, look exactly like that team. This was never just about qualifying. It's about announcing that an era has arrived. So here's my question for you. How far do Ecuador go at this World Cup group stage, round of 16, or do they go even further and break hearts? Drop your prediction in the comments. Tell me if I'm overhyping them or if you see it too. And if you do, hit like and subscribe. Because when this team makes noise this summer, you'll want to say you called it first.